Hello, and welcome back to NH3 Tech Talk. I'm your host, Justin Little, and we're back, folks. Episode 3. Here we go. We're going to kind of hit the ground running with this one because I've been, wasting a lot of time with me running my mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know what you guys are in for with this episode right off the bat, right out the gate. We are going to start our journey into a PM inspection. The first few episodes, I talked about, what we got to do to prepare and what we got to do once we show up to the job, or the job site, how to get in, how to go through the contractor training, where to park, and all that good stuff. And, now we're here to do what we came to do. If you haven't listened to the first 2 episodes as a new apprentice or someone brand new in service, please go back and listen to those first 2 episodes. And my welcome back will apply to you. Everyone else, welcome back. So before I begin, I want to recap a little bit of some issues I had with the previous podcast. First of all, I know I had a 9-second pause in there of dead air that I didn't edit out, and I'm going to do better this one. I'm getting better at editing, so bear with me, guys. Hopefully you guys didn't turn it off and thought it was over. It was like halfway through. I felt so dumb. Whatever. Nothing new. So sorry about that, guys. Bear with me. Grow with me, like I've been saying. Another one. We were talking about the automotive wrench, and I was going like a Ford wrench and all that. And I actually received a lot of feedback from that. And it was confirmed that a lot of people call it a Ford wrench, automotive wrench, whatever. If you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. This is just dumb. My boy Chewy, thanks for the clarification on that. You're my boy. Another one. It's called a composer, guys. The guy with the stick at the orchestra. Yeah, I know. We all know. You guys were thinking, God, this guy's so dumb, dude. Well, it took one of my good friends to hit me up and be like, come on, dude. I was like, I know. Anyways, a composer, I guess we could call it. And last but not least, I said I was going to touch on non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that on the last episode. And if anyone was waiting to hear about that, I'm sorry. I kind of get off topic sometimes and, I switch my focus and go off. I'd like to talk about this because this is important. So as far as it goes as, signing non-disclosure agreements and documents that ensure the safety of a lot of these facilities, trade secrets and stuff like that. You got to really be careful what you do at these facilities. You sign a paper saying that you're not going to say anything about their processes or their trade secrets or whatever they're doing that makes it specific to whatever they're doing. So you're signing stuff saying that you're going to keep that all a secret and you're not going to expose that information or broadcast it or anything like that on the podcast or YouTube or anything like that. So with that being said, I'm bringing this up because, there's a lot of guys out there that are like taking videos of facilities and equipment and doing work, or maybe it's like an ammonia leak and they're like, oh yeah, check this out, posting the video to YouTube and all that. Yeah, that's not cool, unless the customer says it's cool. And just to put it out there for you guys, because I'm learning this too along the way. And, I haven't posted anything that would violate anything like this. But if I didn't do the research, I very well could have. So here it is for you guys, dude. If you're thinking of getting into whatever I'm doing, kind of, getting the word out there, trying to create content. I'm all with it. I'm not trying to deter anyone. You got my full support. Um, it's just we got to be really careful. You're opening yourself and your company up to some sketchy situations. You know what I mean? Even taking a selfie or a video of yourself on the job site and all this stuff. I mean, it's a very fine line, and they don't really like it. Most places will be like, "Hey, no filming here, no pictures, no nothing." Do we take pictures? It's very specific type of like data plate information or a picture of a valve just for ordering purposes and stuff like that. You really need written consent and permission to be able to film a photography, anything on a facility. And some places are cool. Like I'm going to try to talk to a couple places I go to and be like, "Hey, dude, like a place that's not like a production facility, more like a distribution facility, like a warehouse or something." And I'll be like, "Hey, dude, do you guys mind if I, film myself, doing a PM or, something like that, changing a valve?" Or I don't know how this is going to go down. I don't know if I even want to be filming myself doing stuff just in case something does happen. It just opens the window for a lot of stuff to go down. So, I think what I'm going to try to do is like set up some mock-up valve stations, and then I could pressurize them with air pressure, and then do these tutorials and stuff with live pressure on it for you guys on YouTube. When I start doing my quick reference videos, and to touch on that too, I got a YouTube page going, and I think we are going to use that for all type of commentary, interactions, forums, or whatever. So go to YouTube at NH3 Tech Talk. And you don't got to listen to this on YouTube. I have them posted on there just as podcasts with like a generic title, just so you can listen on YouTube while you do whatever. But soon I will be posting videos of, little quick helpful videos and tutorials and stuff like that for you guys to use for quick reference. Yeah, so that's coming soon. So stay tuned. Follow the channel, NH3 Tech Talk. Everyone usually has access to YouTube. I know listening to podcasts, there's a ton of different platforms. And then all the social media. It's like, I can't be bouncing all around to communicate. I will on the profiles. If you message me directly, I will communicate. But as far as just like commentation and, if you got something funny to say or if you want to, whatever, dude. Go to YouTube and click on the episode, and let's start that comment section as our little area, and then we'll grow up from there and we'll see what happens. So anyone that's been asking about that, let's start with that. Let's start our talks on YouTube. So that's how we could start getting involved with each other and all this good stuff, or you guys could really let me hear it. Okay, so non-disclosures, please, guys, take this serious. It puts everybody in jeopardy, your job in jeopardy, your company in jeopardy, you in jeopardy, lawsuits, everything. So please don't be, thinking it's cool because, you're young and you just started and you guys take videos of absolutely everything. So just try not to do that at work, because it opens the door, once you start posting stuff online to, a lot of trouble you could get yourself into. So, you guys do your research, be careful, don't be reckless. If you want to do this and create content and post cool videos and all that stuff, just make sure you cover all your bases. Okay. I just wanted to clear this up before I get going, just in case someone else wants to get started doing this too. I don't want them to learn the hard way. Luckily I didn't have to. Okay. So that's it. That's it with the recap. Luckily, I guess I didn't make too many mistakes, as far as I'm concerned, whatever. Okay. So, here we go, dude. This episode, we're ready. We're ready to rock. We have a job to do. Okay. I think this is going to be like a 5-part segment. I'm going to start out with different aspects of the PM inspection. like I said in the last episode, you can fill up an 8-hour day with a PM inspection, okay? And what a PM inspection is a preventative maintenance inspection, okay? So you're here in service to, look for stuff that's broke down, of course, the obvious, or stuff that's given problems or leaks or whatever. But you're there for preventative maintenance. That means before it happens, and, I know that we don't have x-ray vision and we're not psychic. And you're thinking, how am I supposed to know when something's going to break? It's because that's what we do, boy. I know when stuff's going out and stuff like that. And you'll know too, once you get in to the trade and recognize what normal operation is and what abnormal operation is. That's something I'm going to touch on too, is recognizing normal operation. Later on, once we get more in depth, I'll talk more about troubleshooting and how to troubleshoot and all this stuff. But you really can't troubleshoot, or you can, but it makes it really, really hard to troubleshoot anything, not just refrigeration, but just in life. But you need to know what normal operation's like. When speaking refrigeration, you need to know, like, I'm staying specific on compressors. You need to know normal operation. What's the normal pressures? What's the set point? How far away are you from set point? Or what's the dead band? What's the prop band? What is a prop band, dead band? All this stuff. Yeah, so you really need to know, what normal operation is in order to tell what abnormal operation is. And I hope that makes sense. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. So, you're ready. Okay, you and your journeyman, you got your keys from the lockbox and all this stuff. You got your handy dandy notebook ready. It's your first day on the site. It's probably your journeyman's first day too. And I'm gonna start creating this fantasy refrigeration system that we're gonna be working on. It shouldn't be too hard because I'm gonna go each section of the refrigeration system. Like today would be compressors. Next episode will be, condensers. Next one would be evaporators, and then valve groups or whatever, And then we'll get into like piping and insulation and labeling and all that stuff for our PM inspection. So you're ready. You're ready to rock. I'm just going to start in the engine room and in the compressors because typically when you show up early in the morning, it's cold, And if you're there for a PM inspection, you can start anywhere. I don't like going on the roof first thing because a lot of times it's still dark in the morning. It's wet, it's cold, icy, slippery, and all that stuff. So checking on condensers if they're on the rooftop or valve groups and all that stuff usually waits till, later in the day where it's, safer. So I'll save the mornings for walking through the facility and stuff, checking evaporators if they have them, glycol chillers or heat exchangers, all that stuff. And then I'll go to the engine room, where it kind of sucks to go there first thing in the morning because you're first thing in the morning, it's super loud in there. And, but it's warmer, so, you sacrifice the loud noise for the warmth in the mornings. That's why I usually start out in the engine room. And plus, the problems are going to be very evident what you need to, address in an engine room. It doesn't take too long to figure out if you got work that day. Anything extra than your PM in the engine room, after a quick walk around. But I'm going to get into that right now. Okay, so you guys have done all your paperwork. You've done your job hazard analysis. You got all your stuff, blah, blah, blah. You're ready to start your PM. Now, typically, you'll have like a PM checklist or something, or if it's paper on a clipboard, or if you have a laptop, or if, you have tablets, iPads, whatever. I've done it all kinds of different ways. In the past 10 years, I've watched it go from paper forms to going to the shop every day to pick up your form, to dropping it off and all this stuff, to, the future that we live in now, to where, everything's like digital and they email your inspection forms, you fill them out, and then you email them to the office and to the customer or whatever at the end of the day. It's so awesome. The whole paper thing. If your company is out there still with paper forms and doing all this stuff, I'm not hating on you because every company's different, and everyone has their own situation. But, step up your game, dude. Digitize. You know what I mean? PDF files, forms, you shouldn't be doing paper anymore. Hard record, like for rounds and stuff, that's a lot of paper and stuff, like on site for you operators out there. Um, so, like I said, I'm not talking bad about anyone that still does paper. I mean, some people could have great reasons why they have the paper still, but I found it a lot better, a lot easier for everyone involved when it's all digitized. So, yeah, look into that if you're a company owner or whatever. Um, okay, so you're ready. Before you get in the engine room, you're walking up, you got the key, you wrote the, combination in your notebook and all this stuff. So typically by every entry and exit of an engine room, there will be an eye wash station. And inside as well, I think it has to be every 50 feet from anywhere in the engine room. And then outside of the exits or, whatever. I don't have the specific codes with me. Like I said, I'm not reading from the book. Okay, so you're going to have eye wash stations right there. So you're going to want to turn them on before you even walk into the engine room. The shower and the eye wash. Flush them out, let the water flow. You'll see rusty water at first, depending on how long it's been, but even if it's been a day, you'll see a little bit of rusty water sometimes. It's just the way it is. So let it flow, clear out the lines, let it run for about a minute or so. Check, make sure that it's in good working order, because you might need it, you might need it today, in 20 minutes, in 5 minutes, in, an hour before you go home, 5 minutes before you go home, who knows? You might need that eye wash and shower station. Okay, so make sure that they are in operating condition. Okay, I guess I could get into that with the compliance. Once I get compliance people on here, we'll talk about eye wash stations and the spread pattern and the flow rate and all this stuff. Everything's so technical in this industry because we're trying to be so safe. So everything, even the eye wash stations have regulations and spray patterns. Like I said, it's got to all fit within, the regulatory, whatever, regulations. Okay, so we tested the eye wash station. So now what we're going to do, and if you have a phone, a work phone or your personal phone, apprentices, maybe you don't have a work phone yet, but you got a personal phone. It doesn't matter. You got your handy dandy notebook and a phone. Mostly everyone has one. We're going to start keeping files on our customers. Okay. Starting today, day one, job one, because any job or place that you go to once, you'll probably go there again. Okay. So it's a very good idea to start keeping a file on every single customer. Okay. And starting off when you show up, take down, I said not to take pictures and stuff, but stuff like this, like inventory of the refrigeration system, will be posted outside of the engine room and stuff with the quantity of ammonia and the oil and all this stuff, the emergency contact, the on-site contact, all kinds of information, on this identification placard outside of the engine room. What I like to do is take a picture of that placard and put it in my little file for the facility. That way I know what the inventory of the ammonia is, what the oil is, and all this stuff. Because a lot of times, if I'm going there, I'm the main contact service technician for the facility if I don't have like a backup, or maybe we'll have a couple backups if it's a big facility. But, if anything ever happens or something, or you're responding to a release that you can't even get in or close to the engine room and the fire department's there and you show up and you're part of the response team, kind of, you're not on the hazmat team for the facility, but you are right up there with, release control prevention team or response team or whatever. You're showing up, you're right up there with the fire department, you're going to get with them. I've been to releases where I show up and there's been fire trucks and ambulances on site, and I show up and I got this little hazmat patch on my sleeve and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, the expert's here." This is the firemen say that, and I go, I'm like, Oh man, I'm the expert, huh? And I'm by myself, 5,000 pound release or whatever, dude, just huge. And it's all contained, and you're working with the fire department to create a defensive measure to prevent any more release. You know what I mean? And that typically entails finding the king valve and closing it and hitting the e-stop, depending on the situation. If it's on the high side, of course you want to hit the e-stop. If it's on the low side, maybe you want to keep the system running to keep that low side low until you could pull all the liquid back or whatever. There's many different situations, and that's way too advanced for this. And I don't even want to scare nobody with the whole fire department and ambulance thing, but, the gravity of the situation must be explained. So, that's why I do that. I take a picture of the inventory. That way, I'm part of the command. I'll be like, hey, dude, we got 10,000 pounds of ammonia here. We got this much oil. We got 4 compressors. We got this. We got 2 recirculator packages. We got 4 evaporators, 5 freezers, evaporator coils, 2 condensers, blah, 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 blah. You're breaking it down for them. Because this is an emergency situation, and depending on where the release is, if it's in a densely populated area, you got a problem. Or if it's by a freeway, you got a problem, because that ammonia could go across the freeway and people could die. If there's traffic and the ammonia cloud goes that way and people are stuck in their cars, all bad. And it's happened before. I've seen them in training videos. Side note, those Teslas have like a biohazard button where you push it, and I don't think fresh air comes in. So I think that's for situations just like this, because I found it weird that they even have that. What do they know that we don't? Anyways, hopefully that would work in a situation like that. If you're in traffic and ammonia comes, you could hit that biohazard button and not die. Whatever. I don't know. I think that's why they did that. You took a picture, you put it in your file, you got the address on the file, the number of your contact. Now you got the inventory. Okay. So before you go in this engine room, you tested the showers, all this stuff. You're going to check your PPE. Okay. Just double check, that you're following the rules. You got your safety glasses, your earplugs, your hard hat, your safety boots, whatever else they require. If they want you walking around with a hairnet and a smock, guess what you got to wear? A hairnet and a smock all day, even when it's 110 degrees in that engine room. Sucks. Okay. So you're safe. You're ready. You got your respirator mask with you. Let me talk about this too real quick. Sorry. I keep a backpack with me, a safety backpack, no matter what, if I'm doing work, I clip it on my cart, I got a little carabiner on it. If I'm doing pump outs, I'll wear it on my back, and I'm mobile with it. It has, a bunch of stuff in there for an emergency. It's got my respirator mask. It's got Band-Aids. It's got tape to tape up like a laceration. I got a little squeeze bottle of water to flush out my eyes if I get blasted or if something gross gets in there or whatever. I don't know. What else do I got in there? I got tape, maybe a couple extra fittings. I have lockout tags. I have locks, like 2 extra locks with clasp. I have zip ties in there. I have sulfur sticks in there. I have... what else do I have in there? Oh, yeah. I got like the rubber gloves, like when you're dealing with like liquid ammonia and stuff like that. I keep those in there, like the full length arm length gloves, and my apron I keep in there. So I'm ready. You know what I mean? If I'm doing a pump out and I'm like up in a pipe rack or something on a lift, or if I'm on a roof, or whatever, and there's a situation, guess what? I'm ready. Because I'm always ready, okay? And I'm going to keep saying this, and it's not just me bragging, but I do take pride in being ready, okay, for any situation. But, you can never be ready for any situation, but you can prepare, okay? So if you guys hear me talking like this, dude, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here and all this stuff, but I'm just ready for it, man. Anything. I've been in this for 10 years, like I said, which, is only half as long as you 20-year guys. And I've seen a lot, dude. So I can't even imagine what I'm going to see in 10 more years. You know what I mean? As far as like release situations or just stinky situations or just dangerous situations that I've escaped with my life unharmed, and everyone involved has as well, because we were prepared and we had a respirator mask and we were safety orientated. Okay. Yeah, so I carry that around with me, dude, like a backpack, dude. A little lightweight backpack, that way you're mobile and, you can just keep it on your back while you do your job. Okay, so that's a good piece of advice right there. Okay, if you keep your safety shit in the truck, excuse me. If you keep your safety stuff in the truck, that's where it's going to be in an emergency, dude. It's all bad, so keep it with you. Okay. Okay, so you walk into the engine room. Okay. I want you guys to like look around and walk the engine room in its entirety at first. Okay. A lot of engine rooms will have like little yellow brick roads or yellow pathways that they want you to kind of keep pedestrian traffic in, because a lot of times, sometimes people have to walk through the engine room. So just keep that in mind. So stay on your little path if you're just wandering at first. And what I'm wanting you to do is walk around this engine room and get familiar. I want you to familiarize yourself with this engine room. Okay. Look around. Okay. Look at the lighting. Is there sufficient lighting? Some of these engine rooms are like dungeons, okay? And you're going in there and you got your gas lamp that you got to light, like the old school days, like medieval times. You go in there, there's like one flickering light bulb and you got this equipment just ripping. And you can barely even see, dude. You're shining your light around and stuff. And without your light, you are in a dangerous situation, okay? So I know that there's places like that. You do your best to try to recommend more lighting or whatever, but this is why I bring this up. Buy a light, a really good flashlight or a really, really good headlight to put on your hard hat, because without it, you're blind. And in this industry, there's not adequate lighting a lot of places, especially a lot of places we have to be, especially at nighttime or early in the morning or whenever. Sometimes it could be in the middle of the day, but you're inside in a warehouse up by the piping and it's dark up there. You're above the lights, so invest in a good headlight and good flashlight. Streamlight is what I prefer. Shout out to Streamlight. Hook me up. I have their mini lights, big lights, headlights, all this stuff. They're rechargeable. They're dope. They last forever. They're tough. They don't last forever. This is industrial work we do, but they will last for a couple years. I have one that's lasted for like 10 years, I think. Ever since I started, I got recommended these Streamlight flashlights. I bought one. I still have it. Works like a champ. Okay, so the lighting. That's important just for safety and stuff. Okay, so I got a little list here. Hold on. Familiarize yourself with surroundings. Okay, know where your exits are and the engine room. Know where you're gonna do to escape. Okay, releases in the engine room happen, during maintenance, or you could just be in there checking something out, and all of a sudden the shaft seal lets go on a liquid pump or something, or on a compressor, and boom, dude, it's reeking, and you got to get out quick. Okay, so know where your exits are, know where you're going to be, know where you got to meet at, and this is all part of your on-site training. Like if you do have a release and everyone has to evacuate, where are you going to go? Okay, you got to go outside, look at the wind direction, look at your wind socks. Hopefully they have them there. They should. And you want to go upwind of, the ammonia leak, not downwind. And typically there'll be multiple like evacuation areas to a facility, and they have multiple because of the wind direction, So be aware of that kind of stuff. Know where you have to go. Just because you make it out of the engine room or something, maybe that engine room's in the middle of a facility and you still have to get out of the facility and you don't know where or how to get out. You better know. There's site maps, and that'll be all part of the on-site contractor training, and that you have to pay attention to. And that's a good reason why you got to pay attention to. You don't want nothing bad to happen and you not know how to get the hell out of there. Okay? So know where your exits are. Okay. Always keep your, I'm just going to like name stuff off my list and just go, talk about it as I go. Always have your respirator close by. I talked about that in your backpack. The lighting in the engine room. Water faucets. Okay, look around in this engine room for water faucets. Okay, a lot of times we use siphon tees or jet pumps, whatever you guys want to call them. In California, it's kind of rare that we can use them, but when we can, we want to because it just makes life so much easier. And I'll get into jet pumps and siphon tees and all that. It's a little advanced right now. So find water hoses or water faucets where you can hook water hoses up to. Where's the drains at? Where's the water drains? Where's whatever? You want to know that type of stuff. You know, for when you're pumping stuff down, or if just whatever. It goes with familiarizing yourself with the engine room. Okay. So, you walked in, you're walking around this engine room, you're taking note. I'm not going to get into anything other than compressors today, but you are looking around. You're going to notice in our little make-believe refrigeration system, vessels, a high-pressure receiver. You're going to look at that. Okay, where's the king valve? Okay, if it's in the engine room, I'm just going to pretend like the high-pressure receiver is in the engine room. Where's the king valve? Okay, you need to know where that king valve is. Okay, first thing, journeyman, teach your apprentices where the king valve is. And, explain when you would want to hit the E-stop and close the king valve. I was doing this for a while as an apprentice before I even thought to ask, hey, when do I hit the E-stop on a system? You know what I mean? And the answer I got was, depends. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to tell anyone when to hit the E-stop, dude. This is all case-by-case basis, and I'm really trying not to tell you guys anything too specific because I don't want you guys to do something and be like, dude, I listened to you, and I blew it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want that on my conscience, okay, guys? So that's why I'm not going to tell you ever to do anything directly or specific. I'm going to generalize things. This is all make-believe right here. You guys need to make the right decision. Okay. Don't listen to me. I mean, listen to me, but, as a guide, okay, not the definitive force. You should have SOPs, you should have line breaks, you should have all this stuff you should be following to do any type of line break here. Okay. Not listening to a podcast to do it. Okay. This is just supplemental to what you should be learning. I thought I'd throw that out there again. Okay. So you walked around the whole engine room. You're checking out the vessels, the compressors. You're looking at the lighting. You're looking at the exits. You're familiarizing yourself. You're trying to get comfortable, even though you're nervous as hell. So you do that. So your journeyman goes, okay, bud, I showed you the engine room. We're gonna be in here for a while. So here's your paper, and let's say there's 6 compressors here, screw compressors. Fricks. Okay. There's 6 Frick screw compressors here on site. Okay. They are easy. Thermosiphon. Okay. Spin on oil filters, thermosiphon, oil cooling, C-flange. As easy as it gets as far as like maintenance goes. So where you just got to check them out because I want to keep this basic. Okay. So, he tells you, okay, stud, this is your time to shine. I hope you know how to fill out papers, or whatever. Hopefully you can read and write. If not, then that's something you need to work on too, because you got to be able to read and write, brother. And if you don't, there's a lot of things you could do to learn. Okay, so he's going to be like, here's the paper, bud. I want you to fill it out and go check out these compressors, Now, hopefully he'll walk you around and tell you what he wants you to look for and at least the codes to the panels and stuff like that. which I'm not going to divulge either. I'm not going to be kicking out no codes to the panels or service codes. A lot of people know what it is, and it doesn't take too much to figure out what these secret codes are to get in compressor panel. But I'm not going to be the one exposing game, dude, and Frick be like, dude, what are you doing? You told everybody how to get in here, you know? I was like, yeah, I know. I shouldn't do that. So I will not be telling you the code to get into these panels, but come on, guys. You guys know where to find the info. Okay. So he's probably going to walk you around, tell you what he's expecting and stuff. It's your first day, you know, so don't feel weird that you don't know what the hell is going on. So this is where we begin. You have your clipboard or your tablet or whatever, and you're standing in front of this compressor. Okay, it's a screw compressor. It's big, you know, we'll call it 250 horsepower, you know, mid-size. Excuse me. Okay, and you got your paper, and it's time to check this thing out. We need to give a good inspection of this compressor. And we got to do it fairly efficiently because some compressor rooms or engine rooms have like 15 compressors in one engine room, and then like maybe it's a split system and or whatever. They got 20. You know, who knows? There's all kinds. But most places have like 6 to 10. I don't know what average is. Depends on the size of the facility, folks. So you're just worried about one right now. You know, if there's 16 compressors, dude, you got more than one day, I would hope, you know, to check this system out, because it's going to take some time just in the engine room. Okay, so anyways, you're here in front of this compressor. Okay, where do I begin? That's what I'm here to tell you. So what you're going to do, you are first going to walk around this compressor with your headlight on, okay? And what you're doing, you're walking around just nice and slow, you know, checking everything out, you know, and I'm assuming it's running, okay? This compressor's running. And you're walking around it, you're listening for weird sounds, you know? You got to know what normal is to know what weird is, right? So, you know, I don't know. I'm just assuming that we're just going to be progressing, okay? I'm not going to worry about every step of the way. So you're going to be listening for any type of abnormal sounds, okay? You're going to be using your senses here, your sight, sound, smell, all that good stuff. So you're looking around for any fresh oil leaks, you know? Sometimes you'll see dirty machines, and that's, you know, that's part of it. Some machine rooms are filthy, you know, whether it be dirt from the wind and stuff like that, because they got to have adequate airflow and stuff. So a lot of dirt comes in. Some places have pre-filters and stuff like that kind of helps filter out dirt. Some of it is just wide open air with louvers or something, you know, that just lets everything in the engine room. So you're going to be listening, you're going to be looking, and you're going to be smelling for anything abnormal. Okay, I'm talking little whiffs of ammonia. Okay, do you see any fresh oil leaks, you know, on the separator, by the oil housing, by the directional valves for the slide valve, you know, on the oil return strainers or the valves, or anywhere, right? You're using your flashlight to really look, you know, and the shiny fresh oil is what you're looking for. Okay, if you see grime with dirt on it and stuff like that, that's not that concerning. Okay, what we're looking for is fresh, shiny oil, like slick oil. And you'll know, you know, because it'll be fresh. And, you know, it could even be as bad as there's a puddle of oil on the ground, you know, and you know you got yourself an issue that you got to address today. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. You know, we're looking for what we're actually going to do besides our PM, you know, because we're doing this PM to look for stuff that's wrong. And when we find stuff that's wrong, you know, we're going to write an estimate to correct this issue, you know. That's why we're here. So that's what you're trying to do. You're looking for stuff to correct, okay? Now, you're not looking for every little thing, okay? I need to explain this to you new guys because you guys get right up happy. Okay. You guys are like, oh man, I got to write this up, this, that, this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, 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 no. You don't go to a customer and list the 5,000 things that are wrong with his facility, when you do the PM inspection. You note the very minor issues, a little bit of leak here, oil leak, not ammonia leak. Okay, we always take care of ammonia leaks. Something that's not an emergency, maybe like a broken gauge or this and that. You're making notes on your paperwork, so at the end of the day, you could come up with a list of stuff. But if you got nothing on your list, that's cool. Maybe you go there all the time. If you have a ton of stuff on your list, don't overwhelm your customer with a huge laundry list of things to do the very first day you show up there. You need to prioritize stuff, okay? This is big, You don't show up and wallop these guys with $1 million worth of quotes, just on your first PM. Obviously they called you here to address the situations that they have. So you just, you need to start like we're starting in the engine room and you start being thorough, and you work a little bit at a time. You kick out a little estimates to him, or you make a long list of things that need to be done, and you sit down with the customer and and talk priority. This is where good customer relationship comes in service, because they're not going to like you too much if you just show up and tell them, okay, I'm going to send you something, and they get a quote for everything that you found, a laundry list a mile long that includes like replacing a condenser because of rusted coil bundles and stuff. It's like, dude, they're going to be overwhelmed, and they have budgets and this. So this all has to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? This has to be in their budget. It has to be realistic, is what I'm saying. You got to come up with a realistic plan to correct their system. You know what I mean? Not everybody has a $500,000 to dump in their refrigeration system. You know what I mean? They might barely have enough money for the electricity to run their refrigeration system. So, seeing what your customer wants and all that stuff, that's very important, but very advanced for what we're talking about. But yeah, just don't, I say it like this. You don't skin the sheep, okay? Sheep farmers, you're not skinning your sheep, right? Every year because you kill them, right? No, you're shearing the sheep. Shearing the sheep. Every season you're shearing off a little wool. Guess what? You still got a lamb or a sheep next year to shear. So that's what I mean by that. You guys down in Australia that are listening, I think there's a lot of sheep farmers down there. What's up, guys? You've been reaching out still, dude. I really appreciate that. What up? Okay, so you're looking for fresh oil leaks, smells, sounds, anything weird. You're not advanced, so you're not looking for anything advanced. Okay? So, you're going to do that. And then, you're going to, I'm trying to look at my list. Okay. So now you're going to work on filling out your form. You walked around, you smelled, you've seen, there's no oil leaks, there's no ammonia smell, there's no weird sounds, Okay, you can rest assured that there's nothing really immediate going on with this compressor that, at face value. So what you do is you go to the panel, okay? And you're going to look at the panel. You're going to look at the set points and the pressures and the temperatures and the differentials and all this stuff, okay? And what you're going to do, you're just going to look at all the readings, and like I said, you got to know what normal is to know what not normal is, okay? So at first, if you're having trouble, go to another compressor if it's on the same system, like same pressure and everything. And look at those numbers. Are they correlating? Are they driving? Are they way off? If they're way off, one of them's messed up, right? So that's a red flag. So look at your temperature readings. Are they way off? Are they pretty close to where they should be? A lot of round sheets for you new operators will have like operating ranges. So hopefully, or you new apprentices, ask your journeyman to kind of give you a rough estimate of what normal operating ranges are at first. So, you're not just coming up to your journeyman on every single question. Hey, is this okay? Hey, is this okay? He'll be like, yeah, guy, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So give them operating ranges, like a little range that it could be within, so they're not tripping out over every little thing. Okay. So, you're going to start with the panel. I'm not going to get too advanced here. You're going to check the set point, the suction pressure set point, right? You're going to check your prop band and dead band. You're gonna look at your amps and your slide valve capacity percentage. Is it how much loaded is, or how loaded is it? What's your FLA? Are you below 70% on your full load amps on your motor? Little stuff like that. You're going to look at your filter differential. Okay, what kind of filter differential do you have for your oil filter? 2 pounds, 3 pounds, that's cool. 10 pounds, that's even all right. But you get up to 12, 13, 14 pound, 15 pound differential. 15 pound differential, yeah, you got a problem, or not really a problem, but it's definitely time to change that filter. Anything over 12 pounds, to tell you the truth, as far as I'm concerned, you're going to start. Who knows when that filter is going to just, start giving you real problems or deteriorate or anything. Who knows? So we typically change filters once a year, or you got to follow your manufacturer recommendation. But I think it's around 8,000 hours or something, or I don't know. We do it once a year, regardless of hours. Just depending on the customer, though. Yeah. So you're going to check your filter differential. Okay. If everything looks good there, all the pressures and the temperatures look the same, you're going to look at your alarm history on the panel. Okay. So you pull up the alarm history and this is you just doing your due diligence here. You're looking at any alarms, like if there's 5 alarms on there in the history, look at the dates. How long ago were these alarms? Were they 4 months ago? Most panels will have like a freeze frame. If it's not like an old school panel, usually your Quantum LXs and above, like as far as Frick's concerned, will have like a freeze screen for when the compressor shuts down. Check out the freeze screen. Try to do detective work as to why you think they had an issue. It could have been a power outage and it's got a bunch of alarms on it, or a high level that'll show like auxiliary failure or stuff like that. But auxiliary failure could be something like a starting failure, with the soft start or a VFD, or I don't know. Kind of see what's up. Obviously something happened because there's an alarm log. If the alarms are on the same day, maybe look into it as like, well, were they doing inspections of this compressor, or were they testing shutdowns or stuff like that? Find out a backstory if any type of red flags pop up. Types of red flags that should pop up. If you see high level shutdowns, okay, high discharge pressure shutdowns, low oil temperature shutdowns, low oil pressure shutdowns, high discharge pressure shutdown. Every safety on this compressor, if any one of them goes off, dude, you got an issue. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have to explain it, but that's what I'm here for. Yeah, so I'm not going to get into the set points and how to get in there and all that, because when I do an episode on annual inspections on a screw compressor or a resoap compressor or whatever, I will talk about how to deal with all that stuff, how to test them, how to ensure that they're operating properly, every little thing you need to check on an annual inspection, because that's thorough. Okay, a yearly inspection is thorough, or even a semi-annual is thorough, where you test safety, change filters, check in play, check alignment. It'll burn an 8-hour day, dude, if you really want to be thorough. You're checking pressure differential across your coalescer filters. You're checking alignment, in play. You're calibrating current transducer. You're calibrating your temperature probes, every single one of them. All your pressure transducers, all this stuff. You got a lot of work to do. Especially if you're changing the oil filters and stuff like that. Then maybe you got to add some oil after. And like I said, folks, you young guys and new operators and stuff, or if you're not in service or don't do this type of work, it's a lot of work. And it typically is an 8-hour day beginning to end, and that's with showing up, signing in, filling out your paperwork, your permits, getting them signed, putting, the system in test, making sure you can do the job, blah, 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 and then you got to do the job, leak check it, or pressurize it, leak check it, put it back online, make sure it's running good, all this stuff, right? Okay, you got to do this in 8 hours. That's why showing up on time and early is important, and being efficient. I never really go over 8 hours. It's very rare. I got to mess something up for me to go 8 hours in this stage of my career on anything basic like that. And it's usually because I'll strip a bolt or something will break, Of course it won't be my fault. But it might be. If something is your guys' fault, guys, you strip something, you break something or whatever, and it's because of your brute force, if you're a straight up beast like I am. Own it. Own up. Don't be hitting the customer and be like, oh, dude, this thing broke. I just barely touched it. It's like they know. They're there every day. You're not. They know what was working and what wasn't before you showed up. And they believe me, they're going to know what's working and what's not working after you leave. So don't be trying to hide any mess ups. It'll cost the customer money. Most of the time, own up to it and be like, hey, dude, this thing was deteriorating. That's why it did break. But I just want to let you know that I did break it. How would you like to move forward? And most of the time they'll be like, oh, I'll order a new valve. Okay. It's not like you're going to be paying for it, but you just got to be truthful with these customers. This is just a weird situation that comes up. Okay. Here I go going off. Look at me. Where was I? Okay, so you're done with the panel. Okay, you've checked all that stuff. You're looking good. You're looking good. So what you're going to do now is pull out your flashlight, turn on your headlight, and you're just going to walk around this thing, right? You are going to check the oil level. There's sight glasses most of the time. If there's one with it running, half or 3/4, level of oil. This is all rough estimates, guys. Please don't clown me. If it's got 2 sight glasses, I like to see, if there's 2 sight glasses and the compressor is running, I like to see at least 3/4 of a sight glass in the bottom sight glass full of oil. When it's not running, I like to see a level in the second sight glass. I guess that's a rough enough estimate. When it's off, it's nice to see a second sight glass level, like a little bit creeping in there. When it's running, 3/4 is decent, oil level. Okay. If it's not running, okay, you're going to check the oil heaters. Okay, because oil heaters only turn on when the compressor's off. Or I guess they would turn on if it got below the set point temperature, which is, I think oil heaters usually come on like around 80 degrees or something. Maybe a little bit lower, warmer. Who knows? It's all site specific. 80 degrees is good. So if you show up and you got a compressor that's off, and you look at and you're doing the inspection, maybe you can't run it because their load doesn't allow you to that day. And I'll talk about that a little bit here. So you can't run equipment all the time. If they're not running production or whatever, or if there's no load or nothing like that, this is a little advanced. You can't just start compressors because you might start pulling stuff back and you can high level their system and shut it down and stuff like that. So if you do start compressors, you need to know that you need to have them in manual mode and unloaded, and start them unloaded and just leave them unloaded and let them run and stuff, and check whatever you can. If even starting up a compressor like that pulls down the suction pressure too far, which is very easy to do depending on the system and how big the compressors are. You might not be able to do that. You might have to turn one off and turn one on, and maybe the customer don't even want to do that today because the last time they did that, they messed up and production got shut down. So sometimes you can't run all the compressors, or sometimes you can't turn them off because they're all running. It's all like in the summer. I go to some places where they're balls to the wall, dude. They're 10 compressors running. They're head pressure to 180 pounds with all condensers going, 110 degrees outside, just ripping. And yeah, they're on the upper end of it all. But you know what? Hey, we're doing it, and they maintain. It just sucks. But it's not a perfect world. Okay. So the side glass was that, yeah. Okay, so you're walking around. You get familiar, okay, with what things are. Ask your journeyman. Okay, when you look at the oil filter housing, be like, what is that? Where's the oil come in? Where's it come out? You see that on a frick, you see that yellow cap going into the compressor on the oil line, be like, what is that metering valve right there? Why? How open should it be? it should be about 2.5, 3 turns open, just as a good starting point, and then you adjust it from there. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it because it's in the Frick book and you need to follow the exact specifications. But you're looking at amps, you're looking at oil pressure, you're looking at all kinds of stuff when you're adjusting that expansion valve for the oil, or the inlet valve to the oil for the compressor out of the housing. Okay, you're going to walk around. This is going to be a thermosiphon compressor because I don't know if I want to get into liquid injection yet. So you're going to look at the thermosiphon, and be like, or the oil cooler, and be like, "Whoa, how's this work? What the heck?" And have your journeyman explain, look, the oil goes in here, it comes out here colder. Well, how much colder? If it's running normally, take some temperature readings and learn what normal operation is. There's an AMOT valve that acts as a thermostat valve. Okay, know what your temperature differential is through that AMOT valve while it's operating normally. That way, when it's time to troubleshoot them, it's a little bit easier for you, because those things are kind of hard to troubleshoot sometimes if you don't know, like, how it should be reacting. Think of a thermostat with a spring. When it gets too hot, the thermostat opens and directs the oil to the oil cooler before going to the oil filter. And if the oil is cooler, it'll shut down and send it straight to the oil filter instead of bypassing it to the oil cooler. That's a rough explanation, okay? But you don't know if it's working good if you don't know how it's normally working good. So familiarize yourself with that. Get this is another tool you should always keep with you, is a temp gun. Okay, a little laser gun, handgun, Field Piece makes a good one, Fluke makes a good one. Keep it on you on a little carabiner clip on your belt loop. Start shooting temperatures everywhere as an apprentice, dude. This is great advice, dude. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah. You keep that around. Wherever you walk, you shoot it with the gun, every separator. You know what I mean? You're walking by, dude. Pew, pew, pew. You shoot some temps. What's the oil filter temperature? Shoot the housing. Shoot the separator on the bottom. As you're walking around a compressor, you see a temp probe. Now, this isn't an accurate way to check. The accurate way to calibrate these temp probes, I'll go through on the annuals, but just for reference, okay, you could shoot the laser on these temperature wells and get a good estimate whether or not how far off your temp probes are, whether they're 2 degrees off or they're 15 degrees off. If they're 15 degrees off, dude, that's a red flag. Anything other than like 8 degrees off from your temp gun and it's reading different, look into it a little bit more, or make a note to look into it. So you're going to be doing that. You're looking for regularity, You're looking, you're learning how to turn off this compressor. Okay, what kind of drive is it? Is it on a VFD or is it direct drive with the soft start or Delta Y? Who knows? You need to know. Okay, so go and look into that, and know about your lockout tagouts and your arc flash protection and all that stuff, and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Every company's different. Some companies let guys open up live panels and take amp readings. Some companies say you can't go in the electrical panel with the compressor running, without, even if you do have arc flash, save it for the electrician. I don't know. Every place is different, guys, dude. So that's why this is difficult to talk about exactly what we need to do. For me, it is, at least. Okay, so what kind of starter is it? Is it Delta Y? If it is, or even if it is a VFD, if you could turn off the compressor, turn it off. Open up that cabinet, look in there. Make sure nothing's obviously messed up or burnt looking or melted insulation or it smells burnt or just whatever. Just anything. You're using your senses again, okay? We're not electricians yet, You probably don't even know how to use a meter yet, and we'll get into that a little bit. Because all us refrigeration guys are bootleg electricians in some form or another. I think that's, a smart kid I work with, dude, we always talk about it because he's a wizard of electricity. And we always talk about as service techs how it's a pain in the butt because we got to be electricians too sometimes. So I will get into that and troubleshooting on how to, what type of meters I have and how I use them and how I troubleshoot. I think that's going to be really helpful for you guys because I got tricks, boy. I got tips and tricks. And I'm sure you guys do too. So when I talk about it, share your tricks and tips, dude. That way we all have tricks and tips. Okay. So, you're walking around it. Let me flip my little handy dandy notebook. I still have a handy dandy notebook, youngsters, 10 years in. Okay. I've had hundreds of notebooks, each one special to my heart. I'd like to. I wish I had a notebook with all my, a box with all my notebooks over the years. That'd be dope. I don't. Okay. So once you're shooting all the temperatures and you're walking around it, there's no leaks, and this thing's rocking and rolling, 100% loaded, just ripping. Rah! You're checking your discharge temp, making sure it's not high. You want to be in your operating ranges. Something to worry about is your coalescer filter pressure differential, but we check that on the annual inspection or maybe semi-annuals just to make sure. Those filters usually last like 30,000 hours, so that you don't change them too often. Typically, you'll change them with the package service, or if you rebuild the compressor or you pull it off and have work done to it, you'll switch out the filters just because you have the opportunity. But we check them annually for the proper filter differential. If it's 0, you might have a hole in your filter. If it's too much, something might be clogged. I think we want normally like 2 pounds or something through it. If this compressor has an oil pump, lot of compressors have an oil pump. Okay. Is it a full-time pump? Is it always running? Or is it a part-time pump? Does it kick on to build up oil pressure and then the compressor starts and then uses the pressure to, provide oil flow? These are all things you got to know. If it does have an oil pump, okay, is there oil pressure regulator? There should be, or an oil bypass or something. You ask your journeyman on how to run an oil pump without starting the compressor. This is very handy dandy. Okay. Once you're on your own a little bit more, you will be able to turn on an oil pump to be able to unload a compressor that's maybe loaded and off. Or if you want to just see what your net oil pressure is, which is your oil pressure above discharge pressure, through your regulator valve, you could turn on your oil pump and watch that, This is advanced, but you need to check out your oil pressure regulator. Make sure that you're regulating at a good pressure, and it's not too high or too low or whatever. And make sure there's no leaks. Make sure that regulator valve ain't, cracking, or just like not working or just whatever, just use your senses once again. Okay. Your oil heater, your oil return, right? So your oil return that goes through the coalescers is on the coalescer side of the separator, whatever little droplets accumulate, it's going to come back through to the suction through the oil return line. And what happens there is it drains from the separator through, some of them have valves, some of them are just like a strainer, whatever. It goes down and works its way back to the inlet to the compressor, to where it feeds the oil back because there's a pressure differential there, right? High to low pressure. Read your reader book. So you'll look for leaks, you got oil leaks, you got smells, you got a little puddle on the ground or something. A lot of little compression fittings on these compressors. You check all your fittings, a little leak turns into a big leak. Okay. Well, a little bit of oil turns into a lot of oil. Okay. So, always address stuff, and make sure it's not an issue that needs to be addressed right away. As far as ammonia leaks go, I'm going to tell you this that was told to me from day one, folks. Okay, so this is right up there with everything. Okay, never walk away from an ammonia leak. Okay, if you have something leaking ammonia, I don't care what it is, a gauge, whatever, it's leaking, and whatever. Okay, if it's leaking enough to where you can smell it, it's leaking. Okay, the odor threshold for ammonia is about 5 ppm. Okay, you can smell a 5 ppm leak, and that needs to be fixed. Okay, so you do not look at a leak and be like, oh, I'll get that next time. Yeah, nah, dude, because next time, there might not be next time, and someone could die, dude. That thing could let go, blam, some guy, or even the guy coming to fix it next time. It could be worse, and his life's in danger, dude, for something unnecessary. You fix issues when they're small, not when they're big. Okay, we do preventative maintenance to fix issues before catastrophic failure or before failure that's going to cause a lot more expense than, what needs to happen, So, yeah, there's that. What else have I written down here? Okay, so you're going to walk around and you're going to check out the motor, okay? Now, these motors typically, if they have grease zerks and they're not sealed bearings or whatever, then you definitely, I think Frick recommends like every 1,200 to 1,300 hours you grease these motors. So it's about a month and a half, 2 hours if it's a normal running compressor. What did I say? Did I say months? About 2 months, month and a half, 2 months. You are going to grease these, okay? Now, typically you want to use some type of Polyrex EM grease, electrical motor grease. Read the data plate, okay? It'll tell you what type of grease to use. Do not just use whatever grease you want because different greases can mix and it could cause catastrophic failure to the bearings, the motor, whatever. Do not just pump it full of grease, okay? Use the right grease. And then when you do grease it, if you're greasing something regularly, there's a process, to where you like annually I'll do this. I'll take out the plugs to the motor and I'll grease it till the new grease kind of comes out, make sure I'm good, and they'll put the plugs back in and stuff. Some people say to do it while it's running, do it that way, do it while it's all, I don't know, whatever you feel safest with. I think when I'm greasing stuff, I won't take off the plug every single time. I'll do it annually, if it's my facility. But what I will do is I'll give it about 5 to 7 pumps, every 2 months or something. You know what I mean? With the grease gun, that's a good number. Like if your bearings are starting to squeal a little bit, about 5, 6 pumps usually clears that up a little bit. You know what I mean? That's just regularly greasing the intervals. I mean, if you guys want to get high tech with it, you can. You could take that plug out every single time, pump that thing full of grease and just, let it rip and do it by the book. And that's fine. I typically don't because it's not my facility. And that type of stuff, the operators, if you're an operator on site, you guys should be doing that greasing yourself. This is your equipment. Don't rely on your service guys to grease your equipment. Even though we will if it's due, you guys should be taking care of your stuff. This podcast is for operators too. Let me make that clear. My operator homies, dude, there's way more of you than there are service guys, dude. I just want to give you guys a shout out. You operators out there, you guys are the men, the mans and the women's, you guys are great. Okay. This is not service tech specific. I'm talking to operators just like I am with apprentices. Okay. Apprentice operator, apprentice service tech, whatever, operator that wants to come to service, all this stuff. I've explained that. Okay. So operators, this could be NH3 operator talk too. Okay. But it's NH3 Tech Talk. You guys are techs too. You guys are just on-site techs. Okay. So the motor grease. Okay. Check out the hours. Last time it was grease. Okay. Don't let these things get neglected. Okay, you're going to walk around. You're going to count the shaft seal drip rate. Okay, every compressor has a shaft seal where the shaft comes out and the seal protects the ammonia and the oil from, going out where the shaft penetration is. Excuse me. So shaft seals leak. They're designed to leak a little bit of oil. This is all normal. Okay. What we do on a PM is count the drips per minute on a shaft seal. Okay. And there's a tube that goes to a shaft seal drip cut. Okay. You'll see it. Okay. Every compressor has one because every shaft seal leaks. That's why these are here. Okay. So if you see a little bit of oil in a drip cut, apprentices or new guys, don't let that raise flags and be like, we need a new shaft seal. No, maybe that shaft seal is only a month old and it's only leaking 2 drips of oil a minute. You know what I mean? Just because. I don't know. Whatever. I've seen it all. I've seen some shaft seals leak pretty good from Jump Street and just continued to hold that way, you know, dripping 8 drips of oil forever, years. It's crazy. Anyways, it happens. I guess it has to do with the wear of the compressor and how much bearing play and in play. I don't know, you know. It's a little advanced for this. Okay, so you're going to count the drip rate, and don't just sit there and estimate what a minute is, because it's hard to estimate. We're not estimators. So get your watch out. You have your stopwatch and time it. And as you're watching your stopwatch or your phone get up to a minute, you're counting the drips. And if it's dripping anything more than like 12, 13, 14 drips a minute, that's a lot. Okay, guys, if you're wondering what a lot is, that's a lot. Okay, it's time to quote replacement of that, you know, but there's more things to check before you quote the replacement of a shaft seal. Like I said, you're going to want to turn it off. You're going to want to check alignment. What type of compressor is this? Is it a C-flange to where it just bolts right up? Did they do it right? Did they install the motor right? Do they have shims on the motor? If there's no shims on the motor feet, that's a huge red flag. That means that this thing may not be installed as well as it could be. You know what I mean? You might be going through seals, you know. Alignment, if it's not a C-flange. And, you know, how's your alignment? You usually check alignment on semi-annuals and annuals. You won't do it on like a regular PM. But if you're leaking shaft seal, if you have a leaking shaft seal, I'll turn it off, pump it down, and the very first thing I check is alignment and in play of the compressor shaft, you know, and, you know, I'll roll that coupling by hand. You know, if I can't roll it by hand, you know, I mean, sometimes you can't, but if I can't like get that thing rolling, it's like, why, you know, something's up, you know, look for the red flags. Okay. But 12 to 15 drips per minute on a shaft seal is a red flag, folks. So, bring your journeyman over and let him show you how to properly diagnose the situation, okay? Because I'll get into that too on a whole troubleshooting episode. And I'll take you through a theoretical write-up of you finding an issue, troubleshooting it, confirming it, writing it up, submitting a service estimate, blah, 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 all the way down to getting the part and replacing it. I'll take you guys on that journey. Okay? So you're going to check the shaft seal drip rate, okay? You're going to look around. You're going to make sure that all the valves are backseated. You know, the suction valve, the discharge valve, you know, make sure they're not halfway open or the packings aren't leaking and stuff like that. It's a good idea to light a sulfur stick and kind of walk around. And maybe there's a leak that you can't smell because of the airflow or whatever. So you might hit it on the sulfur stick. If you don't know that we use sulfur sticks to look for leaks, that's what we use over here. I've heard other people have to use litmus paper, and I've heard like up in Canada that sulfur sticks aren't allowed to be used. I don't know, because of the open flame, maybe. I don't know. You guys reach out to me and talk to me about that, different leak techniques and stuff like that. I know there's a bunch of different things for different areas. Like, I've never seen an ammonia burner in person, like the tripod where they burn off the vapor of ammonia. We don't do that out in California, you know? And I know people on the East Coast that have never used a jet pump or a siphon tee that we use out here in California too. You know what I mean? So depending on where you're at, dude, I mean, it's just weird. Everyone does stuff different. It's like, we call soda out here on the West Coast. You guys on the East Coast call it pop. Hey, give me a can of pop. We call it soda, like soda pop. I guess that's where the correlation is. Anyways, that's not refrigeration related. You are going to walk around and you're going to look at the hydraulic slide valve, directional valve that's on, you know, most compressors. You know, it'll be a little block valve on the back and you'll have little solenoids. And it's a directional valve for the volume and capacity of the compressor. You know, the slide valve and slide stop valve and all that good stuff. So what you're going to want to do, if the compressor's running, go up to your panel and you're going to want to unload the slide valve and load the slide valve, okay? Now, if your production doesn't allow that, then you can't do it, you know? Same thing when you're doing annuals. You got to calibrate that slide valve. Sometimes the load doesn't allow that to happen. You got to figure out a way that you could do that, you know? And that takes a little bit more thinking, and sometimes you could create like a false load to be able to do that on the system, but it's a little advanced. Okay. So, yeah. You're wanting to run that slide valve all the way down and all the way up. What I like to do is go to 0% and I'll start my stopwatch and load it. It shouldn't take more than, a minute? 2 minutes. I gotta look at the book, dude. Let's call it a minute and a half just for this, okay? It could be 2 minutes, could be 1 minute. But you start at 0 and then you load it up. And it shouldn't take longer than 2 minutes to get to 100%. Okay, but it shouldn't take less than a minute to get to 100% either. Okay, you get that little buffer about a minute and a half to get to 100%, dude. I think you're pretty much golden. That's a good speed for your slide valve. Okay, so, I mean, you could work that slide valve, make sure it's not stuck and stuff. You might go up there and manually try to unload it. It's not moving anywhere. Well, you might find that the little solenoid for the unload is burnt out. Boom. There's your PM. There's your service estimate. You found something. Congratulations, kiddo. That's worth writing up, because this thing can't operate normally without that. You're stuck loaded, right? So those are things that you want to check. The safety set points, and I wrote that down, but that's kind of just like whatever. This was a good basic walk around, okay? You're looking for leaks, you're looking for smell, you're looking for sounds, you're looking at what the isolation valves are, you're looking at what normal operation is, you're looking at oil cooling, you're looking at isolation or differentials, you're looking at the oil filter housing. And you are getting explained by your journeyman the flow of oil. Oil flow is important, okay? Learn how the oil flows in a compressor package, okay? Learn all the tips and tricks, okay? Learn which transducer is what. They all look the same, but they're in different spots, dude. Know that when you look at one, that boom, just by the location, that's a pressure, discharge pressure, God, I can't think of the name. A discharge pressure transducer. God, this podcast is too long if I'm messing up stuff like that. Anyways, it's a case-by-case basis. Hopefully this was a good little starter for you guys to walk around a compressor and just kind of, know what I'm looking for when doing a PM inspection. Once again, preventative maintenance inspection, PM inspection. Okay, guys? That's what we do. We're here to find stuff wrong before it happens. Okay? And we do all the time. You start going to a place all the time and you don't find nothing and you're waiting for stuff to break before you fix it. They're going to kick you to the curb, dude, because they don't want that. They're paying money for you to go there to fix stuff that before it breaks or give them a heads up, so they're not stuck, with parts that are not in stock when they need them in an emergency. Here's another thing too. This is worth talking about right here, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. Is parts. We have parts issues with lead times and stuff like that. So if you're going to a facility and you know that you need oil filters coming up in about 3 months for an annual, well, guess what the lead time for oil filter is lately? About 3 months. I've had ordered some Danfoss pulse valves lately. It took 8 months to get. Coalescer filters from Frick, made in America, all this good stuff, I think. 6 months, okay, so we're dealing with some big lead times because of COVID, okay? So you guys really need to be proactive in your preventative maintenance and start looking at what you're gonna need months down the road. So this makes things more difficult for us journeymen, okay? I'm talking to you guys out there. I'm sure you guys are all experiencing this, but I just want to verbalize it. So be proactive, dude. Try to get your customers to start ordering parts, stock up parts on site, filters, solenoid valves, coils, what else? Little S8F valves, liquid solenoid valves, get critical valves, ICAD motorized valves, get one of your critical control valves, because valves are like 3 months out too. Made in America valves. This ain't no logistics or stuck on a ship type of thing. Okay? So just to verbalize that, I guess it's me venting because I'm frustrated with that lately. It's like, man, I just want my parts, dude. I just want to fix your guys' stuff. I want to go there. It sucks when you go to the place all the time and something's broke and you're waiting on parts, and every time you go there, you're staring at it broke and you can't fix it. because we only fix stuff with manufactured, supplied replacement parts. Okay, we don't. What's the term here? Jerry rig, anything. We don't. We don't try to fix it with bubble gum and duct tape. Okay, this is too dangerous. We always use manufactured, recommended parts. Okay. I think this is good for now. This is our weekly episode. Okay. We're going to continue with this PM next week too. We'll probably venture out of the engine room, start going on the rooftop or something of our make-believe refrigeration system. Okay. You guys, hopefully you guys are getting something out of this. The positive feedback's been amazing. Still, you guys are all reaching out to me, asking all these questions. I'm going to lay this out once again. I'm going to be doing interviews here, folks. I just need some time. This is all in the infantile stages. I'm getting a lot of big questions from a lot of guys wondering, oh, are you going to be doing this, doing that, doing this? Yeah, I'm going to be doing it all, dude. You guys just stay tuned and let me develop this and give me a shot, man, to teach you something. Okay? I promise I'm going to do my best, dude. This is not a waste of time for anyone, dude. And you new guys, hopefully you guys are jumping on board. I went to a RETA meeting this past week, and a couple guys had heard about the podcast. They came up to me, were like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And some guys didn't, but were interested. So I did that. And then I talked to a couple apprentices that work for my company that were there, and they had listened to the podcast, and they were so appreciative that, they were able to hear something like this, because it's just another tool. So this is satisfying for me. So I will continue. You guys, it's up to you to keep it, continue to keep it satisfying for me. Okay. Listen, download, share, the downloads are pretty good, guys. I'm cracking them off. I just want consistency. I think the more I'm consistent, the more the downloads will be consistent. But like I said, I'm not too worried about it, but I do want to get to a good little level to where I feel like I'm talking to a crew. And right now we're about 150 downloads per episode. So if I'm talking to 150 of you guys out there, that's cool. What's up, crew? All right. Well, this is it. This has been NH3 Tech Talk. Follow us on YouTube. Let's make YouTube our forum. Okay. Our manland and womanland. Cool. You can reach me at NH3 Tech Talk at gmail.com. I'm on LinkedIn under Justin Little. I'm in Facebook under NH3 Tech Talk. I have a Facebook group page that I set up. A couple people are in it. There's another forum. I'll be bouncing around from LinkedIn to their Instagram, NH3 Tech Talk. LinkedIn, Twitter, NH3 Tech Talk. Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everything, fool. How about this? You guys start reaching out to me a little bit more, and I'll break up these little PM segments with like something for the more advanced guys. If I get a lot of guys that want to hear something juicy, you know what I mean? If you guys are getting bored, be like, hey, dude, come on, kick out something dope. And I'll be like, all right, dude, I'll throw one in there to kind of tease as I'm building up this apprentice segment, But if you guys are happy with the way it is, comment on that too, okay? I'm taking all feedback serious. Okay, guys. If you made it to the end of this one, thank you so much. This has been another one. I did it again. Have a safe work week. It's Sunday today. I'm putting this out tonight for Monday morning. You guys be safe out there. Hit me up. Be involved. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Okay? Till next time. See you later.